Hey, greetings! Welcome back to Sean's Irish Whiskey Shelf, coming at you from the heart of the United States out here in the Midwest. And what I have for you this evening is a bottle of whiskey that a buddy of mine on the East Coast picked up for me. And I've seen it around, I've seen it advertised in different places and never could get my hands on it. So he found it and offered to pick me up a bottle in return for a bottle of Redbreast. I told him that he was a little bit confused as to what this particular bottle might be worth, but I did get him a bottle of Redbreast. I got him a sampler. He'd never had Redbreast before, so he got a sampler of Redbreast 12. He also got Green Spot and Midleton Berry Crockett, which I got to try, and we are going to get that on this channel. And Powers John's Lane. So a nice little sampler set from the Midleton Distillery. And what I have here is another bottle of whiskey from the Midleton Distillery. We have this evening Jameson Triple Triple. Now, Jameson Triple Triple was originally introduced back in 2019, and it was supposed to be sold only like at airports, or as they called it, let me see here, the global travel retail. So this was only supposed to be found as you're traveling around and moving through like duty-free shops and things like that. However, right around Valentine's Day of 2025, Midleton Distillery decided that maybe it's time to let the world try it. So they put it into general production, and it's started to reach the United States. In fact, right after my buddy picked this up on the East Coast, about, I don't know, a couple days before I left to head out that way, I found it on a shelf out here in Iowa. So it is starting to make its way around. You should be able to find this in maybe the $35 to $50 range, somewhere in there. So it's not going to set you back a whole lot. It's more expensive than regular Jameson, but it's not going to be up there with, say, Jameson Black Barrel or Jameson Crested. Those two are going to be a little bit more expensive than Jameson Triple Triple. So, what do we know about Jameson Triple Triple? Well, this is, like most all the other Jameson products, this is an 80 proof, 40% blend. It is a blend of single pot still and single grain. So Midleton does not use any single malt in their blends. They use single pot still and single grain, and they don't really talk a lot about what the percentage of those blends are, but it's kind of guessed that you're looking at maybe 60% single pot still and 40% single grain. At least that's the common conspiracy anyway. Now, what makes this different is what gives it that triple triple name. This is the same whiskey that you find in regular Jameson. The difference is how this is matured. Triple Triple is matured in ex-bourbon, sherry, and Malaga wine casks. A lot of these whiskeys behind me go through ex-bourbon casks. That's like common. A number of them use sherry casks. Very few see a Malaga wine cask. In fact, I was sitting here scratching my head trying to figure out which ones exactly do see Malaga wine casks. The only one that came close that I could put my finger on right away was the Redbreast PX. The Pedro Jimenez is kind of like Malaga wine, but it's a different grape. So It's the same but different. We'll go with that. For those unfamiliar with what Malaga wine is, it's a very sweet and fortified wine, so it's got a lot of sweetness to it. And since not a lot of whiskeys go through that process of being finished in Malaga wine casks, that kind of makes this a unique taste, one that you won't find anywhere else. For those who are unfamiliar, if we do the single pot still, single grain blend with the single pot still, and this uses malted and unmalted barley in the single pot still, you're going to get a richness, a spice taste. That's what you find from pot still whiskey. It's that kind of spicy taste. And then over on the grain whiskey, on that side of the blend, you're going to get more of a smoothness, kind of a sweet taste. So Midleton takes those two on all of their blends, really. Pot still and grain. And remember, all the single means is that it comes from one distillery. So when we say single pot still, it's a pot still whiskey that comes from one distillery. The distilling process for this pot still is done in traditional copper pot stills, and the grain whiskey is done distilled in the column stills. Remember, we did a video a little while ago about the coffee column stills. That's what you typically find for grain whiskey, or those column stills. So, and I wanted to add also, the single grain, while we mentioned that the pot still comes from malted and unmalted barley, the grain whiskey typically comes from a little bit of maize or corn and barley. So that is what we have. Midleton, in their marketing for this particular bottle, says that it's sweeter and fruitier than standard Jameson. Now, my longtime viewers know that Jameson is not really my favorite. I find it to be a little on the weaker side. Tullamore Dew is my everyday favorite. Bushmills White would be right behind it. In fact, I could do either or. Powers Gold Label, yeah, that's kind of up there too. I like Powers. If I don't want to spend a lot of money, I might go get Patty's. Patty's is good enough for an everyday sip. It's not as good as Tullamore, but I like it. I find Jameson to be a little less flavorful. And then, of course, Proper Number 12, we've talked about that. I am not a fan of Proper Number 12. But let's see what Jameson Triple Triple brings to the old palate here. See what we've got. So, very nice amber color. Definitely not as light as Prize Fight from last week. So it's got a very nice amber. Not really much on the nose. Kind of like regular Jameson. I mean, you know it's Irish whiskey. There's not a lot of nose to it. So, let's see what it tastes like. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. It's actually pretty good. I think if I wanted to drink Jameson on a regular basis, make it my everyday sipper, I would rather have this than regular Jameson. This does bring about a little bit more flavor. Sweetness, yeah, okay. I might be able to get a little bit of that sweetness from the Malaga wine casks, but it's definitely got a lot more body to it than regular Jameson. And for the price, folks, come on, between 35 to 50. that's really not bad. I mean, comparatively speaking, most of the time you'll find a 750 bottle of Jameson or maybe Tullamore Dew in the maybe 25 to 35 range, depending on where you buy it. I mean, here in Iowa, we're finding the 750 Tullamore Dews for mid-30s. This, I think, was here in Iowa. I think it's in the upper 40s. You know what? If I wanted to step my game up just a little bit from my everyday Tullamore Dew or Bush White, this might be it. I'm not tasting a lot of a harsh aftertaste. I'm not noticing that. It certainly isn't burning like Prize Fight did last week. This is really pretty good, folks. Is it going to replace something like, I don't know, Redbreast 12? No. No. Again, you're comparing apples to oranges. All right. Anything in the Redbreast series, a single pot still, you can't compare it to something that's a blend of single pot still and single grain. You have to compare those types of blends. And maybe that'll be a video for one of my future shows. Let's see if we can find some blends that are specifically single pot still, single grain. I can tell you that if we compare this to Jameson Black, your palate is most likely going to like, well, I'm trying to think how to say this. Jameson Black has a bit more of a smoky taste, not a peat smoky. I don't like peat. But it has a little bit maybe of a char taste, because that's where the black comes from, right? Jameson Black. It's been in charred casks. So I think if you like that type of flavor, you'd probably like the black a little bit better. Of course, you're going to pay more. The black runs about $10, maybe $15 a bottle more than the Triple Triple. But if you're looking to up your game, if you're looking to not break the bank on something that's better than your traditional everyday whiskeys, I think you should get a bottle of this and try it. You might be surprised. I am. I honestly didn't know what to expect. I did my research, and there was a lot of discussion about how the flavor is so much better because of the finishing aspect, or maturing. I'm sorry. Remember, there's maturing and there's finishing. Yeah, this is not a bad whiskey at all. Yeah, layers of flavor. Yep. And they speak of velvety notes of toffee, cacao, and toasted almond with an extra drop of smoothness. So I think they're spot on. I like that. I like that a lot. I could see making sure that if this becomes a bottle that my local whiskey stores are going to keep on the shelf, that I might have to keep one on my shelf, and not just the shelves here, but on my shelf over there where I have my stuff that I drink all the time. We don't drink a lot over here. I'm afraid I'll drain something here and never find it again. So we don't do that. But I like this. And if you go out and get a bottle, I hope you leave me a comment and let me know how you liked it, because I'm always interested to hear what you have to say. And if you liked this video, hey, take a second, go down there and click the thumbs up. And if you're not already a subscriber, go to the other side and subscribe. Then you'll get notified when I do a new video. And I just like sharing my Irish whiskey with you guys. That's all this is about. So we will meet again, do another bottle of whiskey. I promised you the Redbreast 18. I was going to do that this week, but really wanted to show my buddy that I was going to drink his bottle of wine that he got me, or excuse me, bottle of whiskey that he got me. So that's what we did. Next week, unless something dramatic happens, we're going to crack open that Jameson 18 and give it a shot. So until that time, enjoy your Irish whiskey, because remember that any reason to have a pour of Irish whiskey is a great reason to have it. Just remember to do it responsibly so that you can be here for the next video. And until that video, I want you to be safe and be well, okay? Sláinte. Bye now.